A new PlayStation 5 patent details more information about certain features, and also there's a huge rumor going around about the PlayStation 5 design. This has made the waves quite a bit, but we'll go over it as well. While it's been the season of delays, it's also been the season for new PlayStation 5 information ahead of its official reveal, and we've got a lot of information regarding it, a lot of exciting information. And let's first talk about the Dualshock 5 controller. While it's going to retain a lot of what makes the Dualshock 4 so great, it also looks to be implementing some new stuff that is very exciting. It's said that the PlayStation 5 Dualshock 5 controller will feature adaptive triggers, and they will be used together with other controller features to create new experiences and mechanics as detailed by a brand new patent set by WCCF Tech. The new patent, which was first spotted by Restera forum members Go Freak, has been filed by several people, including Sony Japan Studios' Nicola Dose, and it details how adaptive triggers can be used in games. The first application is for climbing mechanics. The PlayStation 5 Dualshock 5 triggers correspond to the character's hands, and the gamepad is tilted towards grips so that the player can press on the trigger buttons to climb. If buttons are pressed too lightly, the character won't be able to hold on. If the buttons are pressed too hard, the grip may break off. The right amount of pressure required by the grip will be suggested by the controller's vibration, among other things like visual and sound cues. It was also detailed exactly what the patent says, so here we go. The gamepad is tilted to control the angle of, for example, an electric circular saw relative to a target object. When not in contact with an object, the vibration and audio from the controller speaker can impact an idle state in the saw. You control the saw motor with a trigger. When you tilt the saw into contact with the object, the vibration can indicate the contact and start of the cut. You pull the trigger to activate the saw and start cutting into an object. A force is applied back against the motion of the trigger that depends on the material of the object. Wood might impart small resistive force, stone might impart strong resistive force. And as you cut through the object, the vibration in the grips also changes versus the saw idle state. When you finally cut clear through the object, the trigger resistance gives way to nothing, and the controller sound and vibration return to the saw idle state. The idea is to basically give you a different sense of resistance while cutting through different objects and the sense of breaking through when you finish the cut. There are a lot of unique elements being implemented to the PlayStation 5's overall feature set, and the DualShock 5 improvements just kind of highlight an overall grander picture of some of the more interesting elements the PlayStation 5 is trying to implement to adjust game experience. Obviously, going and upgrading generationally is going to offer you a lot of technical improvements, better visuals, better frame rates, all that kind of stuff. But based on what we heard, it looks like Sony and their team over at PlayStation is looking to add a lot of different elements outside of just regular technical and visual upgrades to immerse players more so into the experience. We're talking audio upgrades, and now these upgrades to the DualShock 5 controller. All of that sounds very exciting to me, and I'm excited to see where that ultimately goes, because if we can increase game immersion even more into next generation, coupled with the better visuals and performance that we're sure to be getting, that's going to improve the gaming experience altogether, and that is something that can be incredibly compelling, so we'll see how that turns out. Also, new reports are highlighting that Sony's PlayStation 5 DualShock 5 controller, this controller that is seeing a lot of updates, will also work on PlayStation 4 consoles, according to PlayStation France. Sony's upcoming PS5 DualShock 5 controller will work on all PS4 models if PlayStation France is to be believed, and I don't see why they wouldn't be believed. The official PlayStation France website features a model comparison page that compares the individual PS4 models, including the original PS4, the PS4 Slim, and the PlayStation 4 Pro. While most of the details that are listed is information that everyone knows, but the page also mentions that the upcoming DualShock 5 controller for the PlayStation 5 will be fully compatible with all of the PlayStation 4 models that we just mentioned. Interesting to note that the page does mention that the last updates from January 19, 2017, well before the official PS5 announcement. Weirdly enough, the PlayStation UK comparison page doesn't mention compatibility with the DS5 controller. However, given that this is posted on here, I would imagine that this would come to fruition. Maybe somebody just let something like this slip up. This is a pretty regular occurrence when the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing and things like that. The DualShock 5 controller being compatible with the PS4 models wouldn't be too surprising, as the DualShock 4 controller can be used on Sony's PlayStation 3. However, of course, a lot of the feature set of the DualShock 4 isn't really relevant to the PS3, such as the touchpad, but cross-hardware compatibility has been mentioned by several sources in the past month, so that coming together would be rather nice. And there are elements of the DualShock 5 that I think could be directly relevant to PlayStation 4 games if you're planning playing on there. Obviously, I don't know how many people are going to be eager to be spending a lot of money on just a DualShock 5 controller and not getting a PS5 outright. However, if you're somebody that, you know, goes to a friend's house and they have a PS4 and you have a PS5 and you want to bring your controller over, whatever, just having features like that is very, very important, and it's just nice. You never know when something like that is going to pop up, and having that option is definitely great. I am really questioning, however, how expensive the DualShock 5 is going to be, given all of the upgrades that it is seeing. I could see it being very, very expensive. Controllers is one thing that generationally has been quietly going up in price. I don't even know if I have to say quietly, because I think people have started to see that, yeah, these controllers are really, really expensive, and that is a little bit of a bummer. DualShock 4 controllers, you're talking about spending $65 for controllers, $70 after tax. That is just really, really expensive for a controller, especially if you're the kind of person that wants to play a lot of local multiplayer games and you want to have 3 to 4 controllers. Think about that. That's going to add up really quickly, and if we're talking about $80 to $85 controllers next generation, man, that is a little bit scary. Obviously, if you are playing games local cooperatively, you can have friends bring over controllers and whatever the case may be, but a lot of people just want to have 3 to 4 controllers in-house so they can boot up a game and play it whenever they want. However, that might be a relatively expensive undertaking next generation. We still don't know for sure. Maybe they'll be $70, $75, but I do imagine they are going to get a little bit of a price bump. As far as DualShock 4s go, they are $65 MSRP, but you can find them a little bit cheaper on sale. But initially, when they come out, I doubt that you're going to be seeing a lot of sales on DualShock 5 controllers, given that they will be a premier controller, but nonetheless, all of the features being detailed for it do look rather compelling. Alright, so enough talk about the controllers. I do also want to note the PlayStation 5 design patent leak. Is it accurate? That is something for you to decide, but this is making the rounds everywhere. The images were forwarded to ccn.com via an anonymous tip, seemingly having surfaced on message board 4chan first. A lot of rumors do pop up on 4chan. Some of them definitely come to fruition, others not so much. And it was noted by CCN they were unable to identify the identity of the anonymous tipster who contacted them. However, there is a lot to go off based on this leak. Now, it does look like a PlayStation console for sure. And a design like this is a little bit reminiscent to the original PlayStation 4 console. Definitely looks a little bit different. The design's uncanny similarity to the PS4 does raise some questions at the same time. The main body of the design is very much reminiscent of a PS4, reshaped into a parallelogram with the top and bottom halves a little bit differently. Now, is it fake? We don't know, but looking back at previous iterations of PlayStation hardware, each generation has heralded a sharp swing in both design and overall aesthetic. With that in mind, they could very well differentiate the PlayStation 5, and interestingly, the design patent does appear to match up with a very blurry image of a rumored in the flesh PlayStation 5 that surfaced earlier in the week. So that going hand to hand, who knows, somebody could have just seen the image and drawn something up and be like, hey, this is the patent. It does look rather cool for a PlayStation 5 console. The look of the console isn't something that I am super attached into, but obviously it does have to be an aesthetically pleasing console, and the main thing is I don't want a giant power brick. I still remember the days of the Xbox 360 colossal power brick. If we could avoid that from a design standpoint, I think I'd be okay. And the console itself, as long as it's functional, as long as it's not too big, I do imagine that it is going to have a little bit of a size increase, given that they are packing in some powerful hardware. But let's hope that the sound also comes down with a solid state drive. That definitely is going to help out. Hopefully it has some good cooling, and hopefully all of that comes together. Sony is usually pretty good at keeping their consoles relatively quiet outside of a couple mishaps here and there, but for the most part, they are pretty good from a design standpoint. But hey, with this PS5 design patent, let's see if it comes to fruition. My idea is that it's probably fake, but hey, it's making the rounds, and I did want to bring that news to you guys. And that's going to conclude this video. Again, I am really interested in the DualShock 5. While it's going to majorly retain everything that made the DualShock controllers compelling in the past, I do think it's going to feature a couple of improvements that just make games overall more engaging, and I'm really excited by how Sony is taking up these alternative methods into creating games that are a little bit more immersive, whether it be the updates to the controller, whether it be the updates to audio and things like that. They're taking a lot of other measures outside of just going the typical, hey, we're improving the visuals, we're improving performance, resolution. Things like that are pretty typical in a console generational leap. However, all of these other updates, that is what is exciting me a little bit more, because it's a little bit more different, it's a little bit more unique, and I'm very much excited how that turns out. By the looks of it, it does also look like the DualShock 5 controller will work on all PS4 models if PlayStation France is to be believed, and I don't know why they would be wrong. That seems like a pretty inside source. So we'll see how that turns out and make up your mind on the PlayStation 5 design pan. I'm thinking it's fake, but who knows, the images do connect based on the blurry image that was posted a little while back. The pan does line up with that, but we'll see how that turns out as well. That's gonna conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.